Welcome to the July meeting of the acquisition SIG for koha-US. We didn't have any outstanding issues in the last meeting to go over old business kinds of stuff. So we'll just kind of, I just picked a couple topics that I know are generally there's interest in to discuss, but we don't have to be limited to those topics. So the first one is purchase suggestions. So I don't know how many people actually use purchase suggestions. Just kind of curious. We've got a smaller group today, so we can. What kinds of limits do you put on it? What's your process? How do you use Koha to manage your purchase suggestions? Anybody want to share what they're doing, and then we can chime in.
So I guess I'll jump in. The purchase suggestions are the only component of the acquisitions module we actually use. Oh. So we do have that turned on so that patrons can place purchase suggestions themselves, and then staff can also purchase or place purchase suggestions on their behalf. And then we just have our librarians each go in and check it at least once a week and process them, decide if they're going to purchase them or not. And we really like that as a customer service tool because it does have lots of notices attached to it. So like even if you say you're not going to have it or you're not going to purchase it or you're going to get an ILL, then the patron gets some notification about that. And then part of the process that's really clunky for us is placing the hold afterwards. Since we don't use the rest of the acquisitions module, I don't know if there's like a component in there, but for us, we just have to kind of keep track once it's ordered, put a sticky note on it, and then place the hold right after it's cataloged. So I would say that's an enhancement that would be nice if we could tie the holds to the purchase suggestions directly.
Mm-hmm. And I know Barbara will second that.
Yes, and we actually have a development. We funded a development with Bywater on that to automatically place a hold for the patron that submitted the suggestion. It is just still listed as in development, I think, and nothing's really happened, it hasn't started yet. I'm trying to look at my ticket. And it was maybe partly based on, I just saw the bug number, hold on. In the ticket, I'm referencing bug 1887. Sounds really old.
That sounds really old.
It is really old. In 2008.
Oh, resolve duplicate of
19358. So what's that one?
That's how you make it not look so old. Somebody else puts it in.
And I commented on that one. Rhonda, you commented on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the part that we actually we would really want, because our patrons, say, I'm suggesting this and I want to be first in line for it. And we get so many suggestions and we don't really know exactly when it's going to be ordered. And right now our workflow is just to tell them, check the, we'll order it, continue to check the catalog, and when you see it in the catalog, you can place a hold. And I know that's not satisfactory to the patrons, but we just can't manage it because of the volume of what we get. So that's why we would like to have it.
Yeah.
We have purchase suggestions turned on. Patrons can make purchase suggestions, but the problem I have is that this is a feature that was turned on long prior to my arriving in at this job. And I believe that they turned on the purchase suggestions, but they never offered anybody any staff training, any consistent, advice on how to use it. So I've got some libraries that use it and check it all the time and keep their suggestion queues clean. And I've got other libraries that never look at it. And there are suggestions in there that are ancient, and there's no desire on their part to have yet another task to do.
Yeah. Does anybody limit the number of suggestions patrons can put on in a given time period?
We do now. We used to have, what was it, the 3 active?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But now with whatever there was a recent enhancement and it's in a time period.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've got something set up where you can only have so many within a time period, because we've got certain patrons that I don't know, they must spend all day entering suggestions, and one of our adult services librarians also sort of thinks that some of the patrons maybe view purchase suggestions as they probably know we're going to order the next Patterson book, but they suggest it anyway because they think they'll be first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she's almost on the other side of, she doesn't necessarily want to offer them to be the first because she thinks they're sort of abusing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something that came up in a discussion at our library about the automatic holds, is if people figured that out, would they just start putting in purchase suggestions for all their favorite authors just so that they would get on the list, and then we'd have to deal with it. We do limit them, like you said, we limit to 3 in a rolling 30-day period.
That's, I think, kind of what we set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we've got patrons too that they will just, they spend all day. We've got one young autistic young man. I'm pretty sure that's what he does all day, if given a chance, because he takes every family member's card and puts in the 3 purchase suggestions on every family member's card, and that's how he limits it or gets around it, I guess. Yeah. I'm curious too, is anybody, and I'm thinking the answer to this is no, but do you use the notices of, once you order, if somebody puts in a purchase suggestion and you decide to order it, there's a way to link the purchase suggestion and the item in the order so that the patron will get a notice when it's ordered and when it is received. Is anybody using that?
We're planning to.
Okay.
I'm at Montgomery County Public Libraries. I've been the collection manager for 2 days now.
Oh, welcome.
And we don't, we're not actually migrating until October. So I'm kind of here listening.
Okay.
The patron question was interesting about the hold notify. I actually set something up in Oasis back when Coots was still their own thing, where I was using delimited data out of the Oasis notes field so that we could put in patron hold notify and have it come through the in the marc record. And then we had this homegrown access report that we used to run upon receipt. so that we could strip the patron information out of the marc record. But it works. We said that if you asked for something, you actually were the first one who got it. It was kind of, it was really cool. I was in a university library, so it was a little easier to control who was requesting stuff because we people, but yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the auto replies, because right now we have a Woohoo form that people fill out for suggestions, and their requests just go into the ether because we can't keep up with them.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing we did, and this was based on a comment made in this group, was for the acquisitions. Let's see if I can do this without divulging too much. Oh, hello. It's a little slow, sorry. So on our purchase suggestion screen, I don't know if this would help some of those libraries that aren't using it or whatever. Let's see if I can. I'm just going to share my screen here real quick. And so this is our purchase suggestion page, and we've got the pending, the accepted, the rejected. And then the collection developers all have a tab. And so in the pending, we've got a part-time person who goes through and looks at these and assigns them to the collection developer. And then the collection developers go in, so I can just go to my tab. If I don't have a tab, then I don't have any suggestions. But if I have a tab, then I know these are 2 purchase suggestions. Oh, they're always DVDs. Yeah. But that's kind of how we try to stay on top of it. The collection developers will check this, once a week or whatever. But we've got one person that's monitoring the pending and kind of going through it. Just all she does is, which collection would this go in? Okay, I'll assign it to that collection developer. And she will also, low hanging fruit, if it's already in the catalog, she'll send the notice that it's already in the catalog, or, stuff like that. Or if, it's out of print and you can't get it, she'll send that. But, the actual decision goes to the collection developers. So that is what we do for workflow, I guess, would be, just to make sure that everybody's kind of staying on top. Before we split it all up into tabs for each of the collection developers, that pending thing would get pretty long sometimes. And it was, especially if one person went on vacation for a week, all their stuff would hang out there, and you'd have to weed through it all to try and find what was new for you. This seems to have taken care of that problem, and it seems to work really well. Oh, there's an easy one. I know I ordered that one already.
And we do similar to what you're doing, Rhonda. Our adult services librarian goes through and looks to see who does it seem, what collection does it seem like it really goes to. And instead of tabs being assigned for each of them, she goes in and just picks the fund. And then all of our funds are like completely coordinated with the collectors. So like I do romance. So she goes in and picks that. So everything displays on the same page, but in the fund column, it just shows the fund it would be ordered from.
Okay.
And then we see it from there, and we're supposed to check like weekly and keep up with it.
Okay. Oops. I guess I actually got to push the share. I was going to, in case you didn't remember, this fund column is what Barbara's talking about. So it would show up in there. Okay. Yeah, ours aren't mapped our funds aren't mapped to collection developers. We've got some funds that multiple developers stick their fingers in. So, okay. Yeah. Oh, and I missed it. Okay.
Wasn't there at one point, or I think there's actually something now where you can have a suggestion emailed to a staff member if there's a system preference or something.
Yes, there is.
But it was sort of a, I don't know, I'm trying to remember, it was like an all or nothing thing. It wasn't very, you couldn't really, refine it to get it so that I guess everybody would get the email or something like that. And I know we didn't set it up because it was kind of like, well, that would be worse than us just going in and checking and seeing if there was anything there.
The preference is email purchase suggestions and email address for purchase suggestions. So the preference asks the question, choose email address that new purchase suggestions will be sent to. And you can choose none, the email address of the branch, the email address for suggestions, or the Koha admin email address. And then if you choose email address for suggestions, you have to enter an email address that all suggestions are sent to. Mm-hmm. So that's what we have turned on, and it's because that way, when somebody does enter a suggestion, it will go to the branch because we've got 53 different libraries. And that, I think, has helped a little bit. But in your situation where you're talking about 4 or 5 different selectors, you would need a way to manage that at the, asking Koha to choose a specific out of a group of people based on the content of the suggestion, which person it's going to go to, is probably asking a little bit too much of Koha.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I mentioned, let's see. So Judy, where did you go? There you are. So it sounds like it's a great idea. Patrons get a message when suggestions are accepted and denied. Yeah, so there's a way to connect a purchase suggestion to a order if you're not doing EDI. If you're doing EDI, that function isn't there. So we and 2 other libraries have put a bug or done a development with Bywater that I think is still in the new phase to make that connection so that they would at least get an email that says, oh, the book's been ordered or whatever it is. And then, oh, it's arrived. Of course, the gotcha there with EDI and receiving is we get the invoice electronically and the books through snail mail. So there's a 3-day difference there or whatever. So we'll have to word the notice in a way that says it'll be here in 3 days or something like that. And then, so that way, it would at least help to keep it top of mind that they put that purchase suggestion in, because sometimes, they'll do a purchase suggestion and then we'll go back and look later and realize that no one has ever checked the book out. They sometimes just forget or went and bought it because they were tired of waiting or whatever. So, all right. So if any of the development, I don't know what that one development is for. Yeah, I'm not seeing it right off the top of my head, but that one is actually development with Bywater to connect purchase suggestions and EDI. So someday it will be found. Is there anything else in, workflow wise or creative solutions that you've come up with, or question, bumps in your process that you're interested in related to purchase suggestions?
Wasn't there discussion at one of these meetings a while back where someone was talking about kind of rearranging, repurposing the workflow so that purchase suggestions were more of like a request manager, and then they could decide to ILL it or purchase it? Was that, does anybody remember that? Did we hear back on?
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't think we've heard. I need to go back and look at the videos to remember which library was talking about that. It's come up before. I can definitely attest to that.
I thought it was an interesting idea, like using it as a place to manage ILLs as well as purchase suggestions, but I don't know. I'd like to know how that worked out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That must have been one I missed because I don't remember that, but that's something that we have talked about here too. It's like if we decide not to purchase it, we just send, the little note that goes with it is, whatever reason we're not, not available from our vendor or whatever it is. And then we give them the link, for the purchase suggestion so that they can go and put it in themselves. But it would be, I don't know, to me, better customer service to just put the ILL in for them. If, of course, there's the ILL will actually could possibly cost them postage. So, they have to have some kind, they would have to give consent, that they want to spend $3.50 or whatever it is to get the book. But yeah, I would be interested in that too.
I don't come to a lot of these meetings, but that totally sounds like something that Latah County Library would want to develop, would be interested in.
Okay.
I can just imagine that was something that Lizette brought up at one of these meetings, or somebody else from Valmet.
Okay.
It almost seems like maybe Marcy at McKinney was talking about it too.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe she'll have something to show us at the conference.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, because she was doing a whole bunch of stuff process-wise because they were getting their staff reduced in the technical services area. So she was trying to find all kinds of ways to reduce their, or streamline their workflow and all that stuff. So that would be interesting. Yes. So I got to put in my plug for koha-US conference. Yay! So the koha-US conference is a conference we hold annually when there's not a pandemic, in person. We still held it last year. It was just virtual. Okay, we got links in the chat here, and it's a great place if you're just to build relationships with other Koha libraries, especially if you're new. Not that I'm pointing at Felicity at all, but it's a great place to chat with people, get to know them, so that when you come to these kinds of meetings, you've got kind of a history going with people. Barbara is just literally up the road from us. Well, 3 hours up the road, but yeah, up the road. And Jason and George, I've met at the Koha conferences. Margaret, I've met at Koha conferences. So it's a great place to get to know people and to ask questions and to learn. The presentations are by people just like you who have been working in the library and just coming up with solutions or, you know, ways that they've been doing stuff. So it's always interesting to see what other libraries are doing. 2 days of presentations and then 2 days of kind of more hands-on workshop kinds of stuff. You can learn how to sign off on bugs and yeah, all kinds of fun things. I think probably George has a, what was it? jQuery?
I think I'm doing a workshop on very basic jQuery and very basic SQL. One on
Okay.
Thursday and one on Friday.
Okay. So it's a great way to learn, you know, get a refresher or learn.
Or to get roped into being an officer in the organization.
Yeah, that works too. That would be.
Past president here.
Yeah. Yes.
Past
Incoming
president and vice president.
Yes. Yeah. President here, Barbara's vice president. Yeah, it's a great place to get roped into things. But it's a great learning opportunity too. And the important part that I'm not mentioning is the location. It is in McKinney, Texas, which is mid-continent instead of West Coast, like the last ones have all been. So it is September 21 through 24. Yep. 21 through 24. And the sign up is open. Registration, I guess, is the word, is open. And if you are a Koha member, you get a discount. But if you're not, and you sign up for to be a member of koha-US, you can get a discount on the registration fees, or you get a discount on your koha-US membership, I think is probably the way to look at it, after July 1st. So that's my plug. So the other topic that I had listed was process workflow for receiving items. Curious, you know, how you receive things if you use or if you don't use EDI, or you do use EDI, or how much, you know, some libraries just do receiving, they don't do, or no, they just do ordering and they don't do receiving. Just curious what kind of a mix we've got out there. So Round Rock does EDI ordering and receiving for our 3 main vendors. Obviously places like Amazon and I don't know, Bound to Stay Bound, don't offer EDI. So we ordered those regular. Yay. Judy says they do EDI ordering and receiving, and it's a breeze. It definitely takes a lot of the manual labor, time intensity kinds of stuff out of the receiving process for sure. Anybody have questions about anything related to receiving or ordering or anything?
Does anyone have documentation that they're willing to share? How they do things?
We have documentation specific to our vendors, but
I'm coming from, we're a Cersei library right now, and things are done in an interesting manner. Most of my experiences was using Voyager. So I'm really curious to see how people are using Koha to do things. in a more industry standard kind of way,
Okay.
as opposed to a homegrown grassroots kind of way.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple videos out that show the EDI process and maybe even the regular process. I know I've done a couple of them at conferences in the past, and I'm just thinking there's probably been a few changes since those were done in Koha to streamline things a little bit, but that's one thing. And
I
then
put that link in the chat. That's got sort of the curated collection of those videos, but I will second that some of that stuff may be a little outdated.
yeah, that's the one. Okay, with EDI, we receive when items arrive and we download MARC records. Judy, is that, which vendors do you use for EDI? Because we, Baker and Taylor and Midwest. Okay, yeah. We have Ingram and Midwest and Findaway. So there's a variety of, most of the Baker and Taylor, Ingram, and what's the other one? Starts with a B that we don't use. Brodart. All of those do EDI and Midwest Tape, and well, Findaway does EDI, but it's sort of different. It's not quite as slick as the other vendors. It does help, but it's a little more primitive. But our acquisitions person is home with a sick child today, so I can talk to her, Felicity, and see if what documentation she has for how, because she did write down her process at one point, and just how she goes about doing this stuff. So yeah. Yes, and then download the MARC records, once they arrive. The vendors will send the MARC records, and then once we actually get the books in-house and can verify that they're in the box, we'll download the records and go from there. Okay, so Kelly, same vendors, download the MARC, have started a new process where we could get the book out before it's received in Koha. Oh, received from
Does that make sense? We hi.
Hi.
Camden County Library. We had a big backup with COVID of boxes and boxes.
Oh,
When people
okay.
not here, and so we had invoices, and so we sort of got a new process, and it's been working pretty good, where we don't have to worry about if they're actually received in Koha. If there's a book with high demand holds, we can get it out, and then just check off that we got it, move the book along to the patrons, and then they can receive from the invoice. It's sort of at a different pace.
Okay, so do you do EDI or do you do it regular? I don't know what to call it.
Maris, I'm not quite sure.
Okay,
I just started
probably, okay. Probably it's not EDI then.
Probably not, yeah. Okay.
So, okay. And that makes more sense that you would.
Okay, all right.
Because
Sorry.
with EDI.
I thought it was.
Yeah. With EDI, it's automatic. The receipt is automatic. You don't
The receipt
do
is,
anything.
oh, okay. I thought that was just the part that was processing. Okay, through the vendor, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't actually sit down and receive items,
Maybe
which,
we could, right.
So that's the joy of EDI.
Okay, all right, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, that's good. But that totally makes sense if you're not using EDI to just, if you're getting backed up on receiving, just get the books out there.
Yeah, I don't think our business office it's not going to work.
Oh,
Yeah, because the business office part is so separate from this department
oh,
with the
okay.
county government. Fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're a municipal library, so
Okay.
we've got city government. But,
Thanks.
yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions related to acquisitions that they would like to ask the group or share with the group? Yes. If not, does anybody have a topic that they would like to discuss next month? And if we need to get a special guest speaker in, we can line that up. We can always get a trainer from Bywater, educator from Bywater, or developer, or whatever. If we want to pick the brains of an educator and see what they can come up with, helping clarify questions and things like that. Maybe what I'll do is just ask one of the educators to join us, and then the agenda will be Stump the Bywater Educator.
I'll not warn them about that before you send the invitation.
Okay. That's good.
I think it'd be good to come up with the talking points for the ACSIG meeting at koha-US and get those kind of made into a nice, hey, check these out and come join the in-person meeting, once in a year opportunity here.
Right.
Lure in some more acquisitions-minded folks.
Mm-hmm.
Hear about
Okay.
how materials get into the library.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, yeah, we since starting on Koha, when we first started, some of this is Koha related, some of it is just workflow related, but we had a door-to-floor number of, what was it, 30.5, I think, like 30 and a half days it would take us to get a book from receiving it to on the shelf. We are now down to 8.5 using the functions in Koha and changing up some stuff and things like that. So we're kind of happy about that. But yeah, if in September, when we get together for the conference, there is a time set aside for the SIG each of the SIGs to meet, and some topics maybe work better face to face, where we can draw on a napkin or whatever we need to do to work through stuff. And yeah, if you've got some ideas about what that is, I will come up with something, but it would be nicer to have the group come up with some ideas of what we want to talk about. Plus, there may be, I don't know, maybe Margaret can tell me, most years there's somebody from the development team at Bywater at the conference. So, we can sort of bend their ear if we need to. So
we've got a few people in the Texas area, as silly as that sounds. But I can find out who all is going. The roster might have changed since, back in early 2020, we had a few people picked out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's a couple Bywater people that live in Texas. So, but that could mean that they're still 8 hours away. So, okay. So I think for next meeting, I'll invite an educator from Bywater to come, and we can ask questions. Maybe, they can do like, I'll ask them to do just like a basic, this is what acquisitions looks like. And then we can, sometimes watching it, that's what stimulates your questions and things like that. So we'll go from there. All right. I am going to let you all go 15 minutes early on this lovely July day. And
See you all later.
see ya. And we'll see you next month and in September. Yay.